Shatterpoint's here.
And it'll make a fine addition to your collection.
Hello there, and welcome to Miniatures Rundown. I'm Josh.
And I'm Cody.
And we've got an advanced copy of Star Wars Shatterpoint. This is Atomic Masses Games' newest creation.
Comes out next month, June.
This was previewed at Adepticon. We unfortunately did not get to play a demo at Adepticon because the lines were about 4 hours long.
Yeah. I'm excited for it, but not that excited. That's like half of our day at Adepticon.
Yeah. So I'm a big fan of Star Wars Legion, which was originally FFG, Fantasy Flight Games.
Yeah.
And then when that whole thing happened, was kind of given to Atomic Mass Games. Mm-hmm. This is not a Legion expansion or anything to do with Legion, except that it is also Star Wars.
And it's not it's not supposed to be the Legion killer either.
Yes, AMG has been very open about saying no, we're not stopping supporting Legion.
Yes.
I mean, who knows? Maybe they could just be saying that because they don't want people to stop buying Legion, but I'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
But, I mean, let's be real. We do a lot of Games Workshop stuff, so like whereas Legion is like 40K, Shatterpoint is more closer to a kill team.
Honestly, what it's really like is that this is Marvel Crisis Protocol Star Wars.
Yeah, that's also what I've heard. But I haven't played that.
In more ways than one. Let's go ahead and crack open the box.
Absolutely.
All right, so here we are.
This is the first thing you'll see when you pull the lid off.
Fancy. Now this retails for, was it $165 you said?
$164.99.
All right.
Don't know if there's going to be any discounts anywhere. I doubt it, being, Disney and a AAA title.
So you have a nice background.
Yeah.
Oh, and this would not be a AMG / former Fantasy Flight. No, just AMG. It wouldn't be an AMG game if there weren't enough tokens to kill a man.
Yes.
So lots and lots of tokens. Looks like those are heartbeat tokens. I guess we'll find out what those are.
Yeah. We got the quick reference core rules here. These are actually free on their website. So
a lot like Star Wars Legion,
yeah,
where the rules are completely free, and there's also a nice reference on the back, which I really like. The quick reference is always very good.
Quick references are amazing, especially when they use all of these little icons like this.
Being
makes it way easier.
AMG game, they love their icons and their tokens and their.
All right.
But now here's what we care about in Minis Rundown.
The Sprues.
Minis. So that's terrain.
Looks like the terrain.
Which this does come with terrain, which is something that the Star Wars Legion Star sets did not come with, unless you count barricades, which you don't count.
There's a lot of it in here, but it kind of looks like it's a lot of the same sprue. But
so let's take a look at the sprue themselves.
That out of the way.
I'm gonna hold this up in front of me. So this is hard plastic. This is not the soft, bendy plastic that like Star Wars Legion started with. Mm-hmm. This is good old polystyrene gray plastic. So that means I'm sure that plastic glue will work with this, which if you're me is really important because I hate using super glue. So the Star Wars terrain is some of the first hard plastic Star Wars terrain that's out there for quite a while.
Yeah, I can't really think
Legion
of any.
Legion has the crashed ATST. It's got the escape pod. It's got the ludicrously expensive Imperial bunker. And those are all kind of the softer plastic. Mm-hmm. Now, worth noting, and you hinted at this is not the same scale as Legion.
Right.
These are more close to, well, I mean, honestly, this is why the MCP comparison comes into place. This is Marvel Crisis Protocol scale. So about 40 to 45 millimeter scale, much bigger. Mm-hmm. And the terrain is also in scale. If you're looking for a terrain scale to use, I believe it is the HO scale. Train terrain is the proper size for Marvel Crisis Protocol. Now, that will work less well for Legion because going to your local train store and buying some train terrain to use will look a little weirder. But just, you could do some converting.
Yeah.
And for things like trees, fields, that would work great.
So it's half the hobby.
So this is a fair chunk of terrain, but not a huge amount of terrain.
Yeah, not a bunch. They do sell they will be selling a separate terrain pack, and this is not the exact same one. It's very similar. I think this one's a little bit smaller than their dedicated terrain pack, which is like $75.
So, yeah, it is $75, and that's one of the complaints people have about the Marvel Crisis Protocol terrain is that it is very expensive.
Is it?
Yeah, for what you get.
I mean, compared to some other, retailers, that's not terrible.
Compared to everybody who's not Games Workshop, it's great.
Yeah, exactly. These are actually...
compared to Games Workshop, it's great.
Yeah. These are actually the bases.
Yeah, so if you wanted an example of the base size, this is what we're dealing with here. This is a Space Marine on a 32 millimeter base.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the difference you're dealing with, and that's the bigger base. Even the smaller base over here, look how much bigger that smaller base is.
Yeah, so these are going to be like your single character bases, so comparatively, yeah, they're going to be much larger than...
much more real estate.
Yeah.
So speaking of which, let's get to the part people actually care about, which is said characters.
Yes, all right.
I'm going to keep Mr. Space Marine out so he can see how inadequately sized he is. Just a warning, Cody. Les sacs de plastique peuvent être dangereux.
Oh, I'll
that was
keep
very
that in
bad
mind.
French, and I apologize to all of our French listeners because I know we have a lot of those.
You never know. Some more terrain in this one. That's like the bigger building part.
Yep.
But let's look at the characters.
So all of the characters come on these two sprues, huh? Or is there more?
No, that's more terrain. So yeah, I think these are all the characters.
So we did not have any instructions in here.
I don't know if that's normal.
I don't know if that's intentional. And that being said, these are numbered and lettered. So D06, D10, I'm assuming, and all the H pieces probably go together. All the D pieces probably go together. And they look fairly simple, like you'll be able to figure it out without too much effort. That being said, if you're one of the types to clip all the sprues off at once and just go ham from there, you might be in for a bad time. Just a warning.
Yeah, don't do that.
We'll be doing a build later where we actually build these and paint them. And we'll let you know from there how difficult or easy it was. There is a QR code on the back of the box. I'm wondering if that is where those instructions are.
Yeah. It says learn more. Doesn't go too much into detail in the box, but maybe we'll figure it out and come back.
So if you're comparing normal human to normal human, I mean, clone troopers are clones, but so are Death to Coral Krieg, so honestly that works out. Yeah, he's a good, without his head, he's a good head taller.
Yeah.
So yeah, and if you're used to Marvel Crisis Protocol, you already know this. This is nothing new to you. But just really hammering home that the scale for these is larger, especially larger than it would be for your Legion minis. Now, you have the character cards?
I do.
Let's see who is actually in this box. A couple of them are on the back of the box or on the front of the box. You've got a good old Ahsoka Tano. Sorry, Ashoka. No, it is Ahsoka.
It's Ahsoka.
Now, Bo-Katan, who I believe is in The Mandalorian, although in a much older form.
Yeah, so a lot of this artwork comes, or it looks like it's loosely based on the Clone Wars animated series. But a lot of these characters kind of, Disney's given it the Marvel extended universe type treatment.
After killing the extended universe, they have now made their own.
Yeah, so Bo-Katan, she's in The Mandalorian, she's in the Clone Wars, maybe in Rebels, I'm not sure.
Briefly
in Rebels?
Yeah, Sabine's mostly the star of Rebels.
Gotcha.
Or as far as Mandalorians go.
Oh. But yeah, we got all of her Mandalorians with her, Ahsoka Tano.
And of course,
in the rules,
General Anakin Skywalker. I don't know who that is.
Yeah, in the rules they have different versions of her that you can see like when you preview on their website. Like the younger version, and this is the older version after she gets exiled or exiles herself.
Which is also a very Marvel Crisis Protocol thing.
Yep.
Because when you're dealing with the Marvel Comics universe, everyone's, there's 14 different Iron Mans, and they've all got different suits, and they're all, there's how many Peter Parkers are there? How many Spider-Mans are there? Which is good because a lot of Marvel fans are fans of a particular run. So you might be a fan of a particular Ahsoka from maybe Rebels, or maybe from Clone Wars, or maybe from Mandalorian, where she's much, much older.
Yeah, absolutely.
So these aren't released yet, but they're probably going to do the same thing they did with Marvel, which is keep turning out these heroes, so there's always something new coming out, and it might be a new version of a character that you already wanted to play.
Yeah, absolutely. They're so far they don't really have anything from like the OG trilogy. There's a little bit of there's a couple of sets from the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. They got the Inquisitors. It's the Jedi Hunters. I know they also show up in Rebels a little bit too.
Season 1, he was the main antagonist.
Yeah. but what's her name? Reva. She's in that set. And then there's also a special like little duel scene that's coming with it. That's Darth Vader versus Obi-Wan Kenobi from that particular series. So the artworks kind of jump around, but it looks like right now the majority of it is going to be the Clone Wars animated series.
I'm going to guess that the artwork style may remain consistent, because none of these are stills that are just stolen from Clone Wars.
Right.
This is all original art.
Yeah.
So I'm going to guess that we're going to see this art style, and we know that because they have confirmed that original trilogy is coming.
Yeah.
We've seen some of the artwork and pictures of some of the models for original trilogy. We've seen Luke and Vader. Yeah. There's going to be another set. If you're familiar with Legion, there was an original trilogy set, which was Rebels with Hoth Luke versus Vader and some Stormtroopers.
Right.
They eventually released Clone Wars, and rumor on the wire is eventually they'll be releasing sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
Who knows when? So they're going to do the same thing with this. So there's 6 folks on each team. Worth noting that the non-named characters, so your Mandalorians, your Clone Troopers, and then I guess let's go ahead and replace with the bad guys here.
Yeah.
Your battle droids and your super commandos, they come in groups. So your guys who are not really heroes, who are just mooks, or, anybody who doesn't have plot armor, basically.
Yeah.
And I guess, does Maul technically have plot armor? I guess getting cut in half and still being there means you have the most plot armor.
He has some of the most plot armor, if we're being honest. This is post-cut in half, thrown down a trash chute Maul.
But post-building legs again.
Yeah. It's not Spider Maul, which that would be really cool if they came out Spider Maul.
$50 says they will.
Yeah.
I would bet money on that here and now.
That would be awesome. But yeah, you got your battle droids, and like the way they set up squads in this is very interesting because you take like one of the named characters and then you surround them with battle droids and then support characters and stuff like that. Like, again, once we go deep into the rules, like supporting unit right there. But yeah, it's very interesting. I'm excited. I want the Hello There set.
It'll come.
Yeah, because Obi-Wan Kenobi, one of my favorites, and also Commander Coty.
I mean, yeah, like legally, you're
kinda,
obligated legally.
I kind of have to, go Commander Coty.
I'm hoping we get the clones from Republic Commando.
They're
in there.
They're already there.
Yep.
They're not. I don't think they're 501st Legion, which I think they are in Republic Commando.
Yes, they are.
They're not 501st Legion. These ones are actually 501st, but they do have their Commando Elites, I think they're called, technically. I don't remember the Jedi's name that they come with, but it's another one of the sets.
So we've seen a lot of previews for sets is what we're saying. A lot of things are coming. This is not a splashing to test the waters, which I mean, it's Star Wars and it's Disney. Of course they're not going to test the waters with this. Like, this has been planned for a long time. So this is going to be a pretty substantial game.
Yeah, I'm sure they already have a pretty big roadmap, behind the scenes that they're, they probably got stuff planned for a while yet. But as far as, price-wise and stuff, they're about $50 a squad box. This comes with the equivalent of 4 of those, and they're roughly the same size terrain as the $70 kit, so it's $275 value and a $165 box. It's not bad at all.
Pretty good deal. It is, of course, a skirmish game, so you're only going to really need like 5-6 models per side, which, I never played Marvel Crisis Protocol because I'm really not a Marvel guy. Just really not my bag. Star Wars,
the movies.
Star Wars, much more my bag. So I'm excited to play in this scale and paint in this scale. I saw someone, I forget who, point out that because these are based on, not calling out GW, but I am calling out GW, because these are based on movie characters and costumes, there's not this obscene amount of like detail to paint on these.
Yeah,
and I'm looking forward to just painting some good old battle droids.
Oh, absolutely. I'm looking forward to having a bunch of clones.
So what you're saying is when we play our game, you'll be playing good and I'll be playing evil.
Yep.
Well, I'm glad we've got that settled.
Yeah.
And we will be playing this and letting you know how the actual gameplay is. We're also going to build these and paint these up and let you know how much of a pain in the butt to put together, although I can look at them and say they look pretty good.
Yeah.
One of the complaints of Marvel Crisis Protocol was that the initial kits were challenged to assemble.
Well, maybe they didn't come with instructions either.
I guess I'm going to follow that QR code and find out.
Yeah, we'll find out and post it somewhere on our socials after this video, or post it in the description.
It'll be in the build video is what it will be, because the build video
fair.
will either be this was great, or where were the instructions?
Yeah.
So keep an eye out for that, and keep an eye out for our gameplay demo, which will be coming soon-ish. We got to play it and edit it and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And until then, I've been Josh.
And I've been Cody.
May the Force be with you.
I am your father.